It's happening. I'm starting to see it. I am starting to see Latinos who voted for Trump, and I know that these Latinos voted for Trump because they either announced it on the platforms. I may know them in real life and they told me, or they told someone that I know or someone that is related to me that they were going to vote for this person. I'm starting to see these people finally turn on this man and start to speak out about what's going on in Los Angeles. I'm a little conflicted because there's a side of me that is angry because it's like, dude, like, we've been telling you this was going to happen. Like, we've been telling you play by play that this was going to happen, and you didn't believe us. And it kind of felt like you turned your back on your culture, and it was very hurtful. Then there's a side of me that's like, okay, maybe this is a step in the right direction. Maybe it's starting to click. It's just a little frustrating that it had to happen this way. Am I the only one that's seeing this? Like, how do you guys feel about that? It's not too late to admit that you were wrong.
I got a question to my Latinos for Trump. How y'all feel today? Do y'all see what's going on in California right now? Do y'all see how voting for Donald Trump didn't give y'all a single brownie point with white uneducated voters? How it did y'all no good. Wearing a MAGA hat, thinking that that was going to put y'all above it all. Now, abuela, Dio, and tia, and mijo, and mija, everybody getting sent up out of here. Without an ounce of due process, right along with you. How y'all feel today? Honestly. Y'all did all that Latinos for Trump, we love Trump. Now you're up out of here. Y'all were the deciding factor in all of this. White, uneducated voters were going to vote for Trump no matter what. That was a lost cause. But you people, on the other hand, whole different ball game. This was an open book test, and y'all failed.
I love how all the Latinos for Trump, like at least the people who I know and follow on Instagram and know personally, are now radio silent. Radio silent. That now post. You're seeing my post that they're in our city. You're seeing my post about, or other people's posts that they're down the street from where you live. This is what you voted for. What do you mean this is, I voted for him to take out the crib. No, you didn't. You're really dumb if you really thought that's what you were voting for. He stood in front of banners ever since 2015, like banners that said mass deportation now. Instant, he said. He said it was quick. It was going to be do whatever it took. This is what you voted for. This is what you voted for. And you feel good? You went to church on Sunday and still feeling good about yourself? The evil, the terror. This is not propaganda, honey. This is real life. This is what's happening in real time. People are peacefully protesting and being urged into chaos, pushed into it. This is what our proud servicemen and women are supposed to come and now police our streets from exercising First Amendment rights. The math isn't mathing for me. It's not.
Oh my God. Guys, what do you think? So now this thing is really getting out of hand with the protest that is actually going on in Los Angeles right now. The whole Latino community, the whole, Spanish community is in upheaval right now. Like there's chaos in town, and it's really crazy because just like the 3 videos shown, it was an open test for you. He clearly stated that he was going to deport you as soon as you voted for him, right? And now that you voted for him, with all these protests going on, with all the eyes, showing up in school, showing up at citizenship interviews, showing up at, your lawyer, showing up, in churches, at your work sites, and it's crazy, right, guys? We need to start holding ourselves responsible for the kind of choices we take for ourselves, right? We are not supposed to blame anyone right now. We are not supposed to blame the Democrats. We're not supposed to blame Biden. We're not supposed to blame Kamala, because Kamala actually, forewarned you guys, and everything now is happening so subsequently, right? And it's about time people started getting the wake up call that they all deserve, right? I'm not saying that they deserve deportation. No one deserves to be deported, right? Because everyone came here as immigrants, so to speak. The real people that own this land are the natives, right? They are the only original landowners, right? So any other person to me was an immigrant that came to this country, right? Although black people have been warning you, the Democrats have been warning you. Democrat is the party that actually stood and has been standing for the immigrants, right? Democrat is the party, let me repeat it again. Democrat is the party that has been standing for immigrants for years. They have given you equal playing ground, right? And now you use your hands, you use your legs, you use your cars to go vote for this dude that clearly stated that he was gonna deport you, right? So guys, I empathize, and I ensure at this time no one is really safe. Even citizens are being deported, like right now. So let's continue, guys.
I'm gonna give it to you as a Latino. We are not Latinx, which you guys have tried to label us. We do care about the border. They seem to believe that just because we're Latinos, we're for open borders, we're for crime. It's like every single stereotype you can actually think of, they believe we are. And now, since we are not voting the way they would like us to vote, their play is to push us even farther away by calling us misogynists, by calling us racist. When 2016 election came through, I thought Donald Trump was actually just a fun candidate to see, but I did get into my feelings and didn't like the stuff he said. I voted for Hillary Clinton. Not ashamed to say it. At the time, that's what I thought. I believed was right for our country, and I voted for Hillary Clinton. Was I a misogynist then, Scarborough? I don't believe so. When Obama came into office, I fully supported Barack Obama. Was I a racist then? This is the problem with the Democratic Party. They have gone so far to the left that anytime anyone even tries to give them a difference of opinion, even though they support their party, they start villainizing them. And that's what has happened to the Democratic Party, and that's why we have started leaning more right.
For me, one of the reasons why I voted for Trump was the economy. Mm-hmm. Now, I shared this before, and I'm going to share it again. For 15 years, I worked for Kroger. Kroger owns Ralph's, Food for Less. I worked at dairy at one point where we load up the iced tea, we load up the milk, we load up the lemonade, we load up the orange juice. We do all of that. I was there when they priced them, $2.99, $3.25, no more. I never seen it $4. Orange juice, a gallon of orange juice. Now it's $8 at Food for Less. That's not food for less.
It's quite the opposite.
That's food for more.
Right.
Okay, so to me, the economy it doubled, $8 for a gallon of orange juice. Okay.
Feel the same way that I do. I really feel like that we voted for President Trump because he really does stand for certain culture identities of outside of like just the color of our race, but also our morals, our values. And I really feel like that President Trump was the best selection for us to vote for, and that's why we actually voted for him.
Let's support Trump. He's a real criminal. 32 convictions.
I mean,
he's saying he's 34.
Kamala Harris is dumber than a box of rocks. She didn't have no policy. She didn't even have a plan. She didn't have anything.
And you clearly haven't sat for a bar. Because if you sat for a bar,
just because you have a title doesn't mean that you're smart.
I
know people who go to Harvard University.
Let me be clear. I went to high school. I graduated from college. 4 years of that.
Your title doesn't make you anything.
I didn't say it. But you know what? The people elected me. The people elected me, and I am the state representative for House District 147. But it's just like women to put women down and to call them dumb. So what is she? I mean, she ain't got no degree. Is she dumb?
I can literally, by the way, and I'm not dumb. And I do know that there's no policy.
What does your degree mean? But anyway, the point is, self-hate is real.
I love myself, and I'm
is real, and I pray for Latinos in this country because they're going to get deported and their families.
Okay, Christina, wrap it up.
Yeah.
Since you started it,
No.
Wrap it up.
Yeah, I'm just, saying, like, we needed policy, we needed a plan. All she ever talked about was LGBTQ and abortion rights.
We'll continue in just a second. All right. We'll let you finish, Christina and Yolanda.
And
on the Christina and Yolanda show.
¿Por qué no los dos? Some folks have been saying, don't blame Latino men, blame the Democrats for losing the election. And listen, yo, I'm not saying that Latino men are the core reason why they lost. Ustedes ya saben, I don't like the blue guys. They ran a campaign of inaction. They couldn't even call a genocide, or even do enough to try to stop it from happening, while still arming the people that are creating a massive loss of life. False promises, and not reaching out to core demographics on issues that were important to them. They mostly just kept saying, hey, at least we're not the other guy. Which is true, at least they're not the other guy. But what I will not do is pretend that there isn't a large subset of Latino men that are actively doing everything they can to gain proximity to white supremacy and ideals that are actively harming people in their community or the community that they claim, as well as other historically marginalized communities. And although they are not a majority when it comes to the votes, they are a powerhouse when it comes to putting down people in their community that are vulnerable. That's it. That's my hot take. I do agree that playing the blame game is not productive, but I also think that we need to be holding people accountable and calling things what they are. Self-hating misogynists. This is a conversation, familia, and I have so much more to say about this, but I'm gonna stop right here. What do you all think?
President Trump, we love you. We will support you all the way to the end. Thank you for everything you've been doing.
We have a message for you, President Trump, from all the way down from the RGB 956. Latinos for Trump here representing. We've been with you since 2016. Co-founded Latinos for Trump. We pray for you, and it's time to what? Finish the wall! 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 Finish the wall!
6, the U.S. Supreme Court today authorized the end of humanitarian parole for 500,000 migrants. The court sided with the Trump administration, leaving Venezuelans, Haitians, Nicaraguans, and Cubans at risk of deportation.
The Supreme Court ruled, and it is going to allow Trump and his administration to strip the humanitarian parole of 500,000 people from 4 countries. Protection that was in place to keep them from being deported is being stripped, and it is going to result in at least 500,000 people being deported who come from 4 countries. Do you want to guess what one of those countries is? The very first one listed? Cuba.
I understand. Folks from Cuba that want to avoid an authoritative communistic regime like Castro somehow gravitate to the fucking Republicans. Look at these fucking assholes down here. Look at these flags on this fucking boat. You think that Trump in any way is going to help anyone that's not white? Cubans aren't light enough. To Trump and the people in power, you're nothing but la cucarachas.
Just ordered the deportation of 500,000 Cuban, Venezuelan, and Haitian immigrants that came here the right way. And my question for my fellow Cubans is, are y'all still feeling special?
I want Hispanic voters to do this for me. Google this. Joe Biden's percentage with Hispanic voters in 2020 versus Kamala Harris' percentage with Hispanic voters in 2024. And you will see exactly what I'm talking about. I grew up in a small town called Barrett Station, Texas, about 20 minutes outside of Houston. I grew up with a bunch of Hispanic people. And for every 5 Hispanics that were legal, there were at least 2 in their family that were illegal. Hispanic men broke for Trump this last time around. They voted for him far more than they did back in 2020 with Joe Biden. Folks, that is a fact. You're not about to get angry at me and black voters for calling y'all out. You knew good and god darn well that your uncle, your father, was probably about to...
You guys are living under a rock. You guys already know what's going on in LA with the ICE raids and everything else. I know there's a lot of mixed feelings out there, and trust me, this is from someone that came from an immigrant family, a Mexican immigrant family, right? So I feel I have a unique perspective because I worked at ICE detention facilities for over 8 years. because I was, law enforcement with the U.S. Marshals, so I got to see a little bit of what happened in the background. Got a lot of friends also that are ICE agents, right? That are ERO ICE agents, Enforcement Removal Operation ICE agents. What I can tell you is this: these agents are out there doing their job, okay? Whether you agree with it or not, whether you agree with the laws, with the immigration laws of this country or not, they're laws. These federal agencies, ICE agent, ERO, fucking HSI, Marshals, whoever, DEA, all the FBI, everyone's out there helping the Department of Homeland Security right now. These guys are doing their job, right? They're enforcing the laws that certain politicians, certain sanctuary cities, sanctuary states in our case, failed to enforce. They failed to enforce these laws, and they got out of control, and now this is what's happening. I'm sure some of those people are hardworking people, that I understand they have families, they have kids, people of good, people that mean well. But if they're here in the country illegally, it's illegal. It's in the word, right? And before I hear anyone say anything about me being a hypocrite because I'm Mexican, right? Let me remind everyone that my family came here the legal way. My grandparents, which were fucking busted their ass working in the fields, picking crops, came here the legal way. It's hard for me to understand how people can be so outraged when they're held accountable, right? They're being arrested, they're being deported because they're here illegally, because they overstayed their visas or they came here into the country illegally, and they're still fucking getting mad.
Which is so weird to me, because nobody here in the United States of America can get away with that type of nonsense. Well, I don't know. Maybe California is a little bit different. They real lenient on criminals and criminal organizations, and that's why that whole state, let alone the city of Los Angeles, is spiraling out of control. But in most places of the country, you get held accountable for your actions, which is one of the reasons why we have law and order, which is another reason why this is the greatest country on earth, because you can walk safely down the street. We don't have gangs running rampant. We don't have a bunch of genocide that's happening inside of the country. We don't have people taking over and then starting to turn it over into their own culture, which we've seen a lot of that lately also, and we need to get things back in order because it's USA first. So when people are sitting here getting mad because you're being held accountable for something that you're doing that you're not supposed to do, what did you expect was going to happen? Oh, I know. You thought that Biden or Kamala Harris was going to get back in office. Well, I got news for you. It's a new sheriff in town. Well, the old sheriff is back in the town. And now we have to be accountable for our actions. It's no more just walking around doing what you want to do when you don't want to do it.
And then what's up with everyone? What's up with everyone? All the fucking everything that's going on the freeways. I saw some videos with the highway patrol vehicles getting smashed with rocks, people throwing shit at ICE agents. I saw a U.S. Marshals bus getting fucking blocked, getting attacked. What's the deal with that? Everyone's waving their Mexican.
I'm going to touch the documented people.
I will vote for Donald Trump. Raise your hands, come on! For Donald Trump! Dale cintura, 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 cintura! I will vote for Donald Trump! I will vote!
Clearly, they are trying to blame everyone else but themselves, right, at this point, because you've seen the writings on the wall. He clearly stated that these things are going to happen. Now you're trying to blame the left, you're trying to blame the Democrats, you're trying to blame literally everybody but yourself, So, you see, I told you severally that for every action, there's always an equal reaction, right? So, what you did, you thought was, something that would do with the economy. You thought the Democrats weren't really doing well with the economy. Things are gonna, get expensive. But newsflash, things are gonna be exponentially more expensive than it used to be. So it's really disheartening to see the outcome of people's actions, and people are now crying for help, calling everybody, blaming the Democrats, calling black people, calling any other person or any other minor group that had warned you before this deportation, right? And it's really pretty crazy. And it's really mad. I feel I empathize with them, but it's high time people started holding themselves responsible for their choices, for the things they thought would not happen to them, for voting against a particular group, for doing this voting for him would save them. At this point, no one is even safe because even American citizens are getting deported, right? Yeah, it has happened and it's happening. So I would say no one is completely safe. But the most group we know right now that are being deported, of course, are the Latinos and the Spanish communities, right? So it's a thing of, sometimes you need to ask yourself that a hard question, right? Whatever you do, it's going to come back and haunt you. And it's actually happening right now, So what do you guys think? If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe on this channel, hit on the like button, share this video with your friends, hit on the notification bell in order not to miss any of my videos. But don't forget to drop your thoughts in the comments and always come back for more videos. Have a good one.